All right, pre-algebra students, this is Chapter 3, Section 3, Multiplying Rational Numbers. Remember, to be rational means that you're a ratio or aka a fraction. So we're going to be multiplying fractions in this section. To multiply fractions, you simply multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators. So a over b times c over d, you're multiplying the top times the top, the numerators, a times c, over b times d, the denominators. Now, notice that b does not equal 0, neither does d, because you can't have a fraction over 0. It does not exist. It would be no solution. So, of course, neither denominator can be 0, because if you multiply anything times 0, anything times 0, it's going to give us 0. So we can't have a denominator of 0. Fractions may be simplified either before you multiply or after. And when you multiply negative fractions, the same multiplication rules apply. Two negatives will make a positive. Positive negative will make negative. All right, so let's review this. This should be all review for you, but in case we're rusty, it's always good to practice. So here I have a negative times a positive, so I know my outcome is going to be negative. So over here I can go ahead and put my final answer should be negative. And I'm going to say 8 times 5, and 8 times 5 is 40, over 15 times 7, and don't forget there's a negative out front. And 15 times 7 is going to be 105. Now that's a big number. 40 over 105, I feel very confident that 5 will go into both of those, and that simplifies down to 8 over 21. So my final answer here, and it's negative. See how I got kind of lazy and kept forgetting to bring my negative, but I already know my final answer is negative, so I took care of my sign at the very beginning. So don't forget your sign. Now, if you didn't want to multiply and get 40 over 105 and have to simplify that big fraction, we could go back to the original problem, and here you can see 5 goes into itself once and into 15 3 times, and that would have made our numbers smaller. So if you don't have a calculator, it's always a good idea to simplify your fractions before you multiply. All right, here we have mixed fractions, and to multiply mixed fractions, you need to turn those into improper fractions. Let's see if you remember how to do that. You'll say 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 gives us 15, and you keep your denominator of 2, times 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8 over 3. So now we have two positive fractions multiplied, so I know my final answer is going to be positive, and I could multiply 15 times 8, that's going to give me a fairly big number, or I could go ahead and simplify here and say 2 goes into 8 4 times, and it goes into itself once. 3 goes into itself once, and into 15 5 times. And so really I have 5 over 1 times 4 over 1. My final answer is a positive 20. So if you didn't simplify, 8 times 15 is 120 over, and 2 times 3 is 6, and you'd have to simplify 120 divided by 6, which is also 20. So I don't know about you, I'd rather work with smaller numbers than to work with 120 over 6. All right, now here are your exercises to practice on your own. My experience, besides making careless sign errors, is that students have a hard time with the mixed fractions. So I'm going to do number 8 with you. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 5, which is 12 over 7, times 2 times 10 is 20, plus 1, make 21 over 2. Can you simplify anything? I can simplify a couple of things here. 2 goes into 12 6, and 7 goes into 21 3, and 6 times 3 is going to give us 18. So that's the quickest way to get our final answer without having big numbers to work with. And remember, these turned into 1 because 7 went into itself once when it went into 21 3 times, and so did 2. Okay, so finish those problems, and let's look at the next page, where we're going to be multiplying some more rational numbers, but this time we have to evaluate each expression. The new concept here is that there are variables. Variables can also represent fractions, just like they can represent any other number, because fractions are numbers too, you know. So here it asks us to evaluate 2/3 of a times b if a is 3 3/7. So it's 2/3 times 3 3/7. That's A. Remember, I'm hugging those variables, those poor nameless variables. Give them a little hug with your parentheses. And B is -5/12. Let's stop right here and look at our signs. I have a positive, and a negative. So if I have an odd number of negatives, I know my final answer should be negative. So I don't want to forget my sign. I have a mixed fraction that I need to work with. So 7 times 3 is 21, plus 3 makes 24/7. It's still in parentheses, and -5/12. And I would like to simplify as much as I can so that I don't have to use my calculator and or my fingers and my toes because my numbers are too big. So let's see what we have that can be simplified. I see 2 goes once and 2 goes into 12 6 times. Yes, I can go all the way across. The commutative property, the associative property allows me to manipulate these because we're multiplying all the way through. 3 goes into 24. It goes into itself once and into 24 8 times. And that's all I see. So I have 1/1, and anything times 1 is itself. So I have here 8. Okay, 8 times -5 is -40. And 7 times 6 is 42. Oh, those both are even numbers, so there must have been some more simplifying that I could have done that I didn't see right off, but it was still nice to not have to say 24 times 2 times 5. So if you didn't simplify all the way down before you multiplied, you do have to simplify now. So let's see, 2 goes 20 times, and it's still negative, and 2 goes 21. And now I don't see a number that'll go into 20 and 21, so my final answer is 20/21. So we're still practicing multiplying fractions, and we just have to take care of our variables. So for your exercises, it tells us that x is 7/10, y is -4 2/5. So let me help you out there. That's the same thing as saying y is -22/5. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22, and I kept my sign negative. And z is -4/7. So I'd like for you to do those 9 problems. I would like for you to do those 9 problems on your own, and we will check those in class tomorrow. All right, I hope you have a fantastic day.